Hello, everybody. Welcome back. A bit of a brief overview of the market. We're going to start with the 4 hourly on the Bitcoin dominance, which has obviously got a double death cross on simples and exponentials. But we do have some bull div now on RSI and on the money flow index. So we might be approaching a support that's going to bounce around here. That might mean that the market's going to have a slightly larger pullback, or maybe Bitcoin takes the lead, maybe goes into a new all-time high. It might only just be a small all-time high. We'll have a look at that in a bit. But for now, on the daily, it does also look like it wants to come down to this area around 61. So another percent loss on the dominance chart, which is good for altcoins. You're obviously having a look at the old landscape today. Some of those alts are really pumping. My XVG trade, which I appreciate is an absolute wrecked city chart, is like 25% today. So normally when you see those sort of things moving, you might be nearing the end for this particular part of a rally. But look, who knows? We might be approaching parabolic season. You just don't know, you know. I think there's always an element of PTSD when it comes to any kind of pump in the market. Fortune favors the brave, as Matt Damon says. How far are you going to allow your trade to run before you decide to pull the plug and take the profit? There's mixed signals out there. We could carry on running and we could literally explode. As I've said, for a couple of years now, my expectation is that we find a peak in September this year. So we're only May, June, July, August, September. We've got 4 to 5 months perhaps of uptrend in the market, as far as I can tell. But that doesn't mean it's going to be continuous from this moment forward. We might just have a little move up, you know, and another move down. It's crypto at the end of the day. People forget what it's like when it goes up, just like they forget what it's like when it goes down. So at the moment, it's going up. Is it going up enough, though, to break out and continue on to new highs for things like Ethereum, XRP, Bitcoin, BNB, the top cap coins, Solana? I don't know. We're going to have to look at them individually to work it out. But yeah, another 1% loss on the dominance chart seems appropriate. And then obviously it hits a golden cross where you'd be looking for a big bounce. Now, if it loses this area, then obviously you're down to 58.5, which again we thought was going to be a major resistance. Broke straight out, so now that should be flipped to support. So, but it's much is up for debate. We don't really know exactly which direction it's going to go exactly today or tomorrow or whatever. Just be grateful for what you've got, and if you're trading, don't forget to take profit. If you're still holding out for the big time hodl, well, as am I, and I haven't budged from that position since I made that plan in well 2023 really. Right, let's have a look at Bitcoin itself. So we're on it's the 7 simple moving average, finding support on there. We found support on there the other day and didn't really see much movement. So if we do lose that area, it's not the end of the world. We come down to this horizontal, which is also backed up by the 10 exponential, where we hit yesterday, and more or less the day before, 101.8 and 102. Excuse me, this is where I thought there was going to be a resistance as well, but it broke through, flipped it to support. Beyond this, we're talking 106 to 107. So that would be the next resistance, $107,000. We're 103.5 at the moment, so well, it could go either way. We're in the middle of a range. Do we go down to the bottom, or do we go up to the top? It's hard to say. You're all tuning in, hoping that I'm going to get my crystal ball out, aren't you, and tell you exactly which direction it's going to go, but it's not really possible. I mean, as we can see, we're floating within this range, more or less down towards the top and towards the bottom, and then sort of, I suppose, getting condensed between Bollinger Bands, which are pinching tighter and tighter as we go sideways for more and more. You've got bull div, you've got bear div, you just don't know. And part of trading is also recognizing when you really just don't know. Um, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's like there's plenty of times in life where you go, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen on the next episode of this program. I don't know. I don't know. Are you going to watch it? Yeah, I want to find out. Do you want to place a bet on what's going to happen? Not really. Yeah, not really. Anything could happen. I've got some ideas as to what could happen, but I don't actually know. It's a little bit like that with Bitcoin's price. But there are altcoins out there where if it wasn't for Bitcoin, you would know. XRP being one of them. So we're above that $2.50, which is something we've been waiting for about a couple of months now. And we've also got the breakout of the money flow and the RSI from this resistance. So we've got breakout of price, breakout of momentum, breakout of volume, all at the same time. What we do want to see though is a weekly close above here. Pretty much that gives the signal for it to run hard. New all-time high, I'd say, is pretty much guaranteed. Pretty much guaranteed. Obviously, there's always a chance that it's not guaranteed, but we have been waiting for this one for a little while now. After that golden cross retest on the weekly, back down here at 165, and now we're back up at $2.57. So that looks good as well. Ethereum keeps pumping, obviously. We're above most moving averages now on the weekly. Just want to get above 2,800. That's a big resistance. Obviously, we've seen this on this previous accumulation. You get above there, you should see us move straight up to 4,000. But because we're not there yet, we can't say that that's where it's going to go. So we'll just have to, cross our fingers and hold our breath at this point for Ethereum. I think the key is that at the moment there has and does appear to be some form of rotation taking place because Bitcoin's sideways and it looks like it wants to go sideways for at least maybe today, And while that happens, it allows for altcoins to run. And if they start to break out on their own merit, then they become tradable charts. And Bitcoin, as we've seen in the past, it's a distant past now, but we have seen it in the past. When Bitcoin runs up, there will become a period where it sort of goes static and sideways. In this instance, it was around the 2021, beginning of 2021. We were running, altcoins were running, Bitcoin was pulling back, kind of going sideways for about a month or so before it found a significant peak. With the rest of altcoins, we might be looking at a period like this now. And again, this cycle is not like the last cycle. No cycle is like the other cycle. They're all individual cycles because they're subject to all these different fundamental viewpoints that you can apply from politics to geopolitics to other financial markets to central banks to interest rates to inflation to all kinds of stuff. So that all cycles are going to be subject to their own narratives that are outside of the world of crypto. But one thing I would say is that it would still appear to be following the old 4-year market cycle. There's a 4-year period where it goes up and down, and then finally finishes a big peak. I don't really see how anyone could say that we've deviated from that, really. And I say it all the time, you can't say you've deviated from it until 4 years has elapsed and something looks off. At the moment, 4 years has not elapsed. We're still within that period, and effectively, if you look at like the total market cap or even Bitcoin itself, you will see a series of higher highs and higher lows, which makes it look like a very significant bull market continues, which has always been my expectation. Up, down, up, peak, somewhere around here. So, I'm like a broken record, but as far as I can tell, the record is still, it might be broken, but it still sounds good. I'll leave it with you there. Nothing else to say. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.